In the bustling city of Dubai, where skyscrapers glittered like jewels under the Arabian sun and luxury cars glided silently over spotless highways, there existed a world of contrast that few ever bothered to see, a world where unimaginable wealth brushed shoulders with silent poverty, where boardrooms filled with men in designer suits stood only a few kilometers away from alleys where children dreamed of a better tomorrow, and among those children was a girl named Amina, her hair always tied back neatly, her uniform always patched up but carefully washed, her shoes worn but polished with whatever shine she could create, for she believed dignity was not in what one wore but in how one carried oneself, and though the world often labeled her poor, she carried within her something far more precious than gold, something the world would only discover when fate decided to intervene, for Amina had a secret gift, one nurtured not by privilege but by curiosity, determination, and an unquenchable thirst for knowledge, and that gift was her extraordinary ability with languages, 9 of them to be exact, from English to French, from Mandarin to Arabic, from Russian to Spanish, from Hindi to Swahili, and even Italian, all flowing from her lips with ease, her memory sharp as a blade, her pronunciation precise as if she had been raised in each corner of the globe, and yet nobody around her knew of this talent, not her teachers who only saw a quiet girl with second-hand books. Not her neighbors who only saw her carrying groceries for her mother, and not the businessmen who walked past her each morning on their way to towers of glass and steel, but destiny has a way of pulling hidden brilliance into the light, often at the most unexpected moments, and so it was that one afternoon, when Amina was sent by her mother to deliver a forgotten lunchbox to her aunt who worked as a cleaner in one of the tallest corporate buildings downtown, she found herself standing timidly in the polished marble lobby, clutching the box against her chest as the receptionist eyed her suspiciously, asking her what business a schoolgirl had in such a place, and before Amina could answer, a group of sharply dressed men and women stepped out of the elevator, laughing, their watches gleaming, their briefcases polished, and at the center of their circle was a tall man in a crisp blue suit, a red and white keffiyeh draped elegantly over his shoulders, his beard well-groomed, his smile confident, and his voice commanding as he joked with his companions. This was Sheikh Karim al-Mansour, an Arab millionaire known not only for his wealth but for his arrogance, for he had built an empire of real estate and luxury ventures, and in doing so had learned to laugh at anyone he deemed beneath him, and when his sharp eyes fell on Amina, standing small and out of place against the backdrop of marble and glass, he slowed his steps, curiosity flickering across his face. Before his lips curled into a smirk, and in front of everyone he pointed at her and said with a laugh, "And who let a little beggar into my office building? Did someone lose their maid's daughter?" The group chuckled nervously, their laughter echoing against the glass walls, but Amina's eyes did not waver, though her heart pounded in her chest. She stood straight and clutched the lunchbox tighter, and with a quiet, steady voice she replied, "I am not a beggar, sir." Karim raised his brows, clearly entertained, leaning against the table in the nearby boardroom as his companions filed in to take their seats, their curiosity piqued, and with a wave of his hand he motioned for the girl to step closer. "Not a beggar, you say? Then what are you, little one? Tell me, do you know why people like me laugh? Because children like you dream of worlds they will never enter." The executives chuckled again, but this time there was unease, for Amina's presence and her courage felt oddly unsettling, and she took a breath before saying something that would change the entire room. "I speak 9 languages." For a moment there was silence, then an explosion of laughter, Karim himself throwing his head back, clutching his chest as though she had just told the most absurd joke of the century. 9 languages. You little girl with shoes older than my watch. What is this, a comedy show? He teased, and the room roared with laughter, but the laughter began to fade when Amina, her eyes steady and her voice calm, spoke in flawless French, then shifted to Italian, then to Mandarin, each word perfect, fluid, and confident, as though she had lived lifetimes across continents, and suddenly the smiles around the table faltered, the executives exchanging looks of disbelief, and Karim, though still trying to laugh, felt his throat tighten as she continued, speaking in Russian, Spanish, Hindi, Swahili, and then Arabic, her words rolling smoothly like music, and the millionaire who once thought himself untouchable, unshakable, found himself staring at a schoolgirl whose brilliance outshone all the gold he owned, his laughter frozen on his lips, his pride crumbling as realization hit him that this was no ordinary child, this was a diamond buried under dust, and everyone in the room now looked at him, not her, to see what he would do next, for they had all seen his arrogance turn to awe in a matter of minutes, and Amina, with nothing but courage and knowledge, had shifted the balance of power in a room that had never before bowed to anyone like her, and that, dear listeners, was only the beginning of a story that would unravel in ways no one could have predicted, where the arrogance of wealth would collide with the power of wisdom. and where a poor girl's gift would test the heart of a millionaire in ways he had never been tested before.